All right, back in the library, and we're going to read through the next chapter and get after it. So come along for the ride. And yeah. Some days learning goes great, and some days you just hit a wall. I think I got a lot done. It's fine. I got through chapter 13 and the call perfect forms, and I need to do some memorization and still do more vocabulary, but I am wrecked out tired. So just gonna maybe take a nap or something. I don't know. But here's some snippets from England. All right, day 2 of week 5, and I'm going to another, actually new to me, coffee shop called Aspire. I aspire to great heights, and so will go to Aspire Coffee. So I went through the perfect, the VUV consecutive perfect, and the imperfect. And you're like, okay, what the heck does that mean? So a perfect essentially means that it is the form of the verb that means the action in the mind of the speaker has been completed. So we often translate this as a past tense because something that's happened in the past, the event is completed. But it's based on the mind of the author. There's a perspectival aspect here. So there is a sense in which the perfect might also be a kind of continuing perfect, that this thing is ongoing, or could be a future perfect, like for instance, prophecy uses the perfect. And when prophecy uses the perfect, it is said as though it is complete, even though it hasn't come to pass within time yet. It is still said as though complete. And there are some poetic elements to this as well in the Psalms and the Proverbs. I still don't fully understand what's going on. These concepts are different than the way that we think about things in English. Like we think about tense conjugation in English, and for the most part, we are past, present, future. We're very time oriented. This is why it's so interesting that the perfect form, even though it's completed, can be speaking of future events, because we don't talk about future events in that way. I need to now go through the workbooks for those chapters, because I did chapter 13 yesterday, but I want to go through the workbook and then start work on the translation for it. And then instead of showing you my drive through Vegas, which, don't get me wrong, Vegas is beautiful. I mean, the mountains here are actually, like, this is actually super pretty. Like, look at this. Look at this. Super pretty. But it doesn't change the fact that I think you might like to see a little bit of England, where I'm headed next. All right, hey, so I spent this morning doing translations, so, you know, here's a bit of a time lapse for that. That translation took like 2 hours. It was probably the hardest one I've done thus far, because now, like, the way that the translations are working is essentially the book modifies each one of them. So like the earliest translations that I was doing are not directly from the full Hebrew text. They're like modifications of the original Hebrew text to show, like, basically to match the skill level of the student, which is simultaneously like a good thing and also like kind of frustrating, because you're like, oh man, like I think I'm getting it. And then it's like getting harder and harder. So it took a lot longer today. There's a lot more questions. I'm going to go through this afternoon and look at what I got right, look at what I got wrong, and just kind of see where we end up. I'm going to make a turn here, so I'm going to try not to get hit by a car. That would be good. All right, here we go. So yeah, I'm headed back to Grouchy John's. I like that place a lot. Cold brew. What I got? Here we go. So maybe kind of silly, but I'm an English person and also a poet, and I like translation in this way. But like, so there's this phrase in Hebrew that I should have recognized that this would happen in Hebrew. It doesn't just happen in English, but there's a personification of something that doesn't have an actual like mind, but that creates a kind of poetic effect here in Genesis. So there's this section here, and I'll just flip it and show you. So I'm going through here, and this is talking about the dreams. Joseph is interpreting the dream of Pharaoh. And so it's talking about how Ra'av is up here. Ra'av is a famine. A famine has come into the land of Egypt. And then it says Vav, right? So Vav achal hara'av et ha'eretz. And what this is literally saying, and you can kind of see this in the English already, but what it's literally saying is this is to eat. This is the call perfect form of the verb to eat. But instead of a person, the one doing the action is the famine. So the famine, hara'av, is eating. Et is just the direct object marker, the land. The famine is eating the land, or the famine eats the land. And so essentially you get this personification of the famine, which again is this more like poetic kind of language. Scripture does this all the time, right? It uses this more poetic language. Like famine isn't literally eating the land, but famine is like ravaging the land. Is the concept to demonstrate like a lack of food and a lack of all these different kinds of things. And we use this type of language in English as well. But this is where like it's really important that we don't overread Scripture literally, because if I read this literally, I would say, oh, famine is a literal thing, and famine is literally eating the land, like it's like a troll eating rocks or something like that. And of course, that's a silly way to read this. We understand what it means. The famine is destroying the land, or will destroy the land, is actually in the context here, because Joseph is interpreting the dream. But yeah, it's cool. What are you doing hanging out in my back seat? It's a little strange. But yeah, it's honestly been kind of an exhausting day. But I'm going to drive, and I'll show you more of England and Scotland while I do. And then we'll cut to the next day. Cha! All right. So honestly, I'm halfway through this week. It's Sunday. Had a good time this morning at church and stuff, but it's been hard. I'm a month into learning Hebrew and also just being out of the military and trying to figure out life. And I'm slowing down a little bit. So today I'm just gonna take a walk. I'm gonna go do some writing, maybe just draw something simple. Take a little bit of a break from just the study. And yeah, it's been a hard week. All right, new day. I did not get any video this morning, but I did go to Foxtail this morning because I wanted to get through reading chapters 14 and 15, which is call imperfects and then imperatives, as well as usives and cohortatives. Cohortatives? I don't know. These are hard words. But yeah, so all of the call forms, almost all of the call forms now between 13, 14, and 15. So went through those. I have more translations to do this afternoon. I have some more vocab to do. And I'm gonna go to Desert Wind. So I'm here, but I also forgot my GoPro to do the time lapse. So no time lapse today. But that's okay, because the point is for me to get the study in. And I don't know, maybe you're tired of time lapse anyways. But yes, it is time to do the thing. We are going to do the thing. I don't know why I'm now Russian, but now I'm Russian. It is fun. Okay, bye. Okay, there's no place to sit in Desert Wind, so I'm going to go to a different place called No Exit. It's only a couple of blocks from here, but I lied. It's called Exit Zero Coffee. I never would have found No Exit. I don't know where that is. All right, I got the Low Tide latte. So it's got caramel, mac nut, and coconut. Should taste like Hawaii. Yeah, it's pretty nice. All right, back to it. All right, last morning of week 5. It's a beautiful day, and I feel still a little behind. So I did read through all the chapters I was supposed to get through, but now I have some translations still to do. We're just gonna dive into it. Nothing fancy, just a drip coffee. All right, so normally, you can hear how loud it is. Normally I don't do this, but I need to lock in. So, yeah. Let's do it. I needed to change a pace and a different location, so I jumped and did something else. My brain hurts a lot. Anyway, yeah, I think I might be done for today. I'm one translation behind, but that's not terrible. I can figure it out. I'm gonna put together some different stuff and enjoy the rest of my day. And next week is vocab week. Thanks for watching. Bye.